First, I want to make a correction. I used to be permanent secretary, but now I am an academic at the University of Nairobi, but I'm chairing the blockchain task force that is looking to develop the roadmap for these new technologies that are coming, including blockchain and artificial intelligence. I'm very happy to join you this morning to share with you. I begin with a paper that we did last year, basically looking at the mobile adoption in Africa. And much of the Africa rising stories that you've been reading about, the promise has been technology. Africa is going to leapfrog. Africa, the internet penetration, mobile adoption. But then we sat down to think, so what after mobile adoption? And we were looking at what is going to happen when the fourth industrial revolution begins, which is going to be underpinned mostly by digital transformation. And we looked at what are the problems that we would encounter, especially when we begin to talk about digital transformation. So I thought today I can talk about that and briefly talk about the direction we are going with respect to developing this roadmap. This fourth industrial revolution that I talked about is for Africa. It's for Africa because it is an opportunity for Africa to transform itself, to leapfrog many years of backwardness and move forward. If you look at artificial intelligence, most people say it's going to undermine employment creation in Africa. But when you look closely, there is so much that we can do with artificial intelligence and create more jobs out of this. We have seen governments ban computers because they suspected they would take jobs from secretaries, from clerks, and we find there is more jobs. When we talk about artificial intelligence, we are saying that those machines that will be working would actually be taught by somebody, that Africa must begin to think beyond the fear and embrace these new technologies as they come. We have had so many problems in many governments where we work in silos. Now technology has come that we could bring all these elements of government and be able to work more efficiently, more productively, as we have seen from the benefits of mobile money in this country. There have been two major technological waves, all of which Africa was missed. We had internet when companies like Netscape, Alta Vista came, they lost to Google. And then we have mobility. Facebook, Twitter came, Africa lost that opportunity. We should not lose the opportunity in this third wave of blockchain. This is why the government of Kenya saw it fit to, I wanted to show you that I have an iPhone. Yeah. Yeah. So there is so much to be gained, especially with productivity improvement in Africa, in the agricultural sector, in the health sector, in educational sector. Take, for example, agriculture, which employs the most people in this country, which contributes more than 30% of African economies to GDP, we're still having issues with food security. And we would hope with this new technology, we can be able to improve productivity, we can be able to improve the farmer, the revenues to the farmers by creating the supply chains, leveraging on these new technologies. And what you are going to see the outcome from our work is to show how we can use this technology to develop these supply chains so that the farmers can benefit, so that the countries can begin to deal with food security. In the health, we have several verticals that we are going to look at, not just the financial, because most people are here to understand how the Bitcoins and other currencies would work, but our focus is going to be mostly on the verticals that are, of course, finance we will talk about, but we would focus on those verticals that are very key to economic growth of the African economies. One thing that we didn't anticipate is the interest from the people, from the announcement that Kenya is looking to deal with the roadmap. I've gotten calls from virtually everywhere in the world, Australia, US, or we have this platform, we have this platform to do this. But we are not in the business of acquiring platforms. We are trying to inform policy so that such platforms can come to this part of the world. Kenya has been the first, especially with the implementation of mobile money, where we took the risk and developed a dual regulatory mechanism that it worked. Those of you who are foreigners, you are sitting in the country that is the mother of mobile money, that virtually every Kenyan, those who have gone to school and those who have not gone to school, are using this mobile money to do something. We say that is very good. We can now leverage that to create more other applications, either through the blockchain, especially the young artists who are coming up, who have no idea how to create wealth out of their talent. I think we have a chance now that we can use this to actually grow them beyond their dreams. So we are very happy that this is happening here, that we are beginning this discourse here in Kenya, because you are looking at many risk takers in this part of the world, that we will be able to take the risks that go with these technologies. I know there are several other parts of government that have not quite embraced discussions around blockchain or Bitcoin or anything to do with the cryptocurrency. But with such discourse, they'll probably begin to understand. And as we develop the roadmap, that will develop the policy framework, they will be able to allow this to happen. We have seen a lot of problems previously when we implement new technologies, when the politicians don't understand what is happening, because they are very key to policy making, because they're the ones who do the legislation. And I think the more we discuss it, the much easier we make it for the political side to enable a better legal framework going forward. I would hope that we don't rush to create a legal framework or a policy framework if we can allow some sandboxes somewhere to test many of these technologies. We can be first among the many who are getting into these new technologies. So we're learning from you, and hopefully we begin to enhance the discourse around this. We want to listen carefully to presenters who have come from other parts of the world, and I'm happy that we're seeing many other Africans from other countries. I heard from Ghana I know some are from Tanzania here. We hope that we would continue this discourse. The first blockchain conference we had at Strathmore was 2 years ago, and this is the second major conference that we have had. Nobody knows which areas that would impact most. But from the experience we have had with trying digital transformation in this country, there are benefits, especially in government records. For example, when we digitized the land records, without blockchain, 6 months, the revenue jumped from 800 million to 9 billion in 6 months. Now, imagine when we bring blockchain such that we can't have the many problems we have of corruption within the process. So we are looking to benefit from this technology and begin to learn from you. Just 2 weeks ago, I was in Barcelona, and I kind of went around to see what's coming. It is amazing that soon we are beginning to talk about the Internet of Skills using 5G because of its, that it doesn't have much latency, that a professional pianist can play and you wear the gloves and actually you can play like a professional pianist. I want to be among the first one to learn piano using 5G. But someone made a mistake to ask me, what in Africa are you going to use AI for? And I said, well, you people, Chinese were talking about an autonomous drone which would carry people to the airport. Well, we are not near to making an autonomous drone. I said, for sure, we would make an autonomous python in Africa. And the audience looked at me and they said, what would you do with the autonomous python? I said, well, I can have it in my lawn so that if a burglar comes, it just rolls around him and not kill him, so that tomorrow I can ask my friend, what were you doing in my lawn? And so I thought I was making a joke, but when I went outside, there were so many people asking me, how many pythons would you have around your home? And I said, maybe 50, because sometimes these young kids come, 50 of them. And how many people live in Nairobi? About 4 million. Can I take your number? So if you see an autonomous python being made from China, the idea came from me. And I said, so don't worry about the use cases, because that's what I'm being asked. What are the use cases of blockchain? Well, everybody asking these questions. I can't exhaust. I've just told you something that is pure money, because watchmen sleep and the burglars come to your house. But with the autonomous python, they won't come. We have other areas like learning, where I have much passion in learning because I teach at the university. And this would help many people. I don't have to go into details on the application of blockchain in education. Some of you know more better because I heard you have several platforms. But we want to learn from you more. But I have seen quite a bit. We want to see how to leverage this to reach kids even in the rural areas. So these technologies, we are talking about inclusivity, which has not been there. And that's the essence of meeting here, to talk about the future technologies to automate and move closer or leapfrog and begin to develop. I said these technologies are Africa's opportunity. I went around Barcelona and saw several micro productions we are going to see more micro-manufacturing than we have ever seen before. The cost of buying a micro-production is much, much less than buying a whole mass production. Now, this is someone disturbing me. Yeah. So the cost of buying micro-production is much lower. And that's why I'm saying it's an opportunity for us as Africans to look at these technologies and think seriously on how to leapfrog and be part of the new world that we don't know, but I know if we lower the cost of production, be more productive, our economies would grow and join other parts of the world that are growing. So thank you, and I welcome you to this part of to Kenya. Those of you who have come from outside, Karibu. Karibu is welcome. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bitange. We have time for just one question. Anyone has any question for Mr. Bitange?
My name is Svetlana Benkfayu. As a government person, don't you think that cryptocurrency may negatively impact your national currency? Its volatility, its exchange rate, and even its existence in the remote future? Thank you.
The easy question, I'm not government, but I can try to answer that. Actually, Kenya has a cryptocurrency. It's called Bonga Points. And just ask any Kenyan here. We don't have to announce it to the world that we have an Ethereum or whatever. It works so perfectly that you gain points from use of your mobile phone, and you can go to a supermarket and buy goods using Bonga Points. I've never heard the word volatility on Bonga Points. If we begin from that, forget about the Bitcoins. We can say we don't want the Bitcoin. We can create our own currency and give those tokens and use those tokens. So the good thing about multiple you can create is that it's not backed on any other. It's not backed on any other currency.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bitange. My name is Zirongo Agema from Nairobi Securities Exchange. I'm really keen on maybe just a follow-up on her question. Really, why can't we have a cryptocurrency in Kenya, maybe being done under the central bank so that we have it more accepted? And the reason I'm saying that is that you are a voice, and you are the chairman of the task force for blockchain and artificial intelligence, so that we start also creating comfort with the other sectors, be it CMA, CBK, and all that. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually the first person who wrote that we needed central bank to recognize these cryptocurrencies, but it takes a while. The good thing is that I played a role in creating M-Pesa. And the first time I went to central bank to ask them to regulate, they said that was money laundering. But it took us time to actually convince them that this is doing. This meeting here today serves as the process of persuading our central bank to see that something serious is happening globally, and we need to introduce this. The cost of sending money using this other platform is much, much lower than, well, I'm a director of Safaricom, so I said, it's much lower than other solutions. And the lower you make it, the more inclusive you become, the more you create productivity within the economy. I think central bank will begin to listen once we develop the roadmap. And the discourse continues to serve to show that something is happening and we ought to be looking at it.